This is Tim Staten with Tim Stating the Obvious. What is this podcast about? It's simple. You are entitled to great leadership everywhere you go, whether it's to church, whether it's to work, whether it's at your house, you are entitled to great leadership. And so in this podcast, we take leadership principles and theories and turn them into everyday, relatable, and usable advice. Hey, and welcome back to another episode. Lately, I've been reading and watching videos about the Mars rover, Perseverance. I think it's awesome how NASA actually comes up with the names, and they come up with the names of the robots. The last one was Curiosity, and then there is this drone, Ingenuity, and a 7th grader, Alex Mather, won the writing contest for the naming the rovers, and he came up with it because this is what he wrote about it. He said, "We, not as a nation, but as humans, will not give up. The human race will always persevere into the future." Perseverance is so important, and it's more than just a buzzword. In this episode, we're going to be talking about perseverance and what it actually means and how to incorporate it into our everyday leadership styles and into our everyday life. Now, at 7th grader, he got it, but how many of us truly get it? Now, speaking of persevering, one way to get this podcast out there is to hit that like button, subscribe, follow, and bell icon. Did you know that if you click any one of those buttons, something happens? Hey, if you want to be a little bit like NASA, be a little bit curious, click the button and see what happens. Okay, so before we get into the definitions of perseverance, I do want to talk about a couple of quotes that I really, really like that when I was doing my research and doing my reading over the last couple of weeks, that really, really stood out. So the first one is, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And Nelson Mandela said that. And then Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Then John Maxwell, he has another good one where he says, "The only guarantee for failure is to stop trying." Then Walter Elliott said, "Perseverance is not a long race. It's many short races, one after another." And that one really hit home when I was looking at it. And I was thinking, because I could see how people would get really, really tired having to continuously persevere over and over and over again. And if you look at it like, your long-term goals in its entirety, you would get tired. But if you look at a small short races that you win every day, small successes getting after it, that's a better, more manageable way to deal with it. Then Thomas Edison said, "Many of life's failures are from people who didn't realize how close they were to success when they gave up." I mean, think about it. How close are you to success and you just didn't realize it and you gave up? How close were you to really achieving something and you just got tired and you're like, "No, I can't do this anymore," and you gave up? There was one time when I was in college and we went on this run, and it was a long run for a beginning person who never really ran before in high school, but we went on like this 6-mile run in college. And the teacher, he was extremely fast. Like, he could run like 7-minute miles, 6-minute miles consistently. And so we were trying to keep up. And he told people, he was like, "If you fall out and you don't finish, you're going to fail the class. But if you finish, you're not going to fail." And I remember doing the run. I was running, I was going. And, I got to about mile 4.5. And I was like, you know what? Let me just stop running. Why? Running is horrible. I don't know if any of you were like once beginner runners and then trying to get into running. If you haven't done that, like, starting out running is horrible. Like, you feel like you're going to die. Your eyeballs getting ready to pop out of your head. Your lungs get tight. Your legs get heavy. You're sweating. Your blood pressure's up. And you're like, why am I doing this? I do not feel good. But then at some point, you end up liking it and you get to see the results and it gets better. But initially, it's horrible. Maybe some other people's experience isn't like that. But for me, absolutely horrible. And the only thing I can remember telling myself is, you know what? You don't have to be the fastest, and you're definitely not the slowest. Just keep your feet going. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, as long as your feet are moving one after another, you're eventually going to get there. You're eventually going to not quit because you're just going through it, and you're eventually just not going to, suck at it. So I didn't. And slowly but surely, I started passing people and I started moving up towards the front. And, I started getting a little bit happier about it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, like they're not quitting either. Neither am I. But I'm actually not doing too bad at this thing. So, when you think of perseverance, like with the little races and the runs and stuff, just think about that. And if I would have just said, you know what, I'm just going to give up. At this college, no matter where you ran, when you came back, because it was the highest point in the city, like you always ran uphill. So it was always demoralizing coming back. But then I remember going back. I just remember, just do one foot after another and cross the line. And if I would have quit at the middle of that hill, then I would have failed that course. And you just got to keep your feet going. You just got to keep going. So anyway, I digress. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. So this is what Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, says. He goes, I like to use the hard times in the past to motivate me today. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work gains success. The first step to achieving your goal is to take a moment to respect your goal. And that's what Dwayne Johnson says. And, aka The Rock. You think about it and persevering, right? You draw back on the times that you thought were super, super hard, but you still made it through on the other side. And you were still good. You still came out okay. And the part about consistency and hard work, I just love that fact, because if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to be consistent about it, right? Not like just do it in bursts, but do it every single day, every part of it is consistent and even, then you're going to achieve the success that you're looking for, and you're gonna stick through it. That consistent hard work is the perseverance. It's not resiliency. Now, those two words go hand in hand, but perseverance and resiliency are not the same. So all of these quotes allude to a common sense, and that is the consistent effort in learning from your past. We all have goals. Well, I should say most of us have goals, and some people have dreams that they failed to put into a realization in space and time. But either way, they could be a goal or it could be a dream. Your dreams become goals when you put them down on a piece of paper. But as leaders, we need to be consistent and work hard for our dreams to become reality. I like the way the Rock puts it, like we said before. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency, consistent hard work. I'm reminded about how many times we want to achieve goals and we look around people and be like, man, these people are high goal achievers, or it's coming easy to them. Everything's going great in their life. I'm happy for them, but I'm also frustrated that I have to work so hard to get there. Didn't you think about it? Well, how did they do it? The truth is, at one point, it wasn't easy for them, and they had to put the reps in to gain the muscle memory. They had to put in the hard work that nobody saw, just like no one's seeing the hard work that you're doing right now, that you're putting in towards your goals and your dreams. No one sees the stuff that goes behind the scenes. People just see the result on the front stage. Nobody sees what goes in behind it. So if you find yourself looking around going, man, how did they achieve it so easy? How did they achieve it so easy? Well, it wasn't so easy. The first time I lifted 315 pounds, it wasn't easy. It was hard, and I thought it was not going to end well. It ended well, but over time, it got easier. Those people had setbacks, they had failures, they had hard times to learn and made them grow. And I watched an interview by Will Smith that said, the difference between me and another person is that if you put us both up on a treadmill, I will die before I give up. There will always be someone in the room that is better than you, more talented than you, good looking, whatever. However, what you can control is when you give up. When you concede to defeat is when you've given up. You've given up on your perseverance. And I think it's very, very powerful because, think about yourself and think about, how are you living that? Are you living that? Or are you going, this is hard, I'm giving up. You know what? I got too many phone calls I got to make, too many people I got to chase around. I'm not doing it anymore. I give up. You know what? These other people are just stronger, faster than me. I'm just never going to make it. I'm just not going to. I'm going to try, but I just know deep down I'm not going to do it. Or, hey, there's way more people smarter than me, and I'm not that smart. I'm not that talented. They're going to get the promotion over me. But they're not putting in the work. Put in the work. And if you're thinking, yes, we know this, then my question to you is, how are you living this and setting the example for others to see? For me personally, it's been a trying year. And, for my entire career, I've been trying to fit this specific mold that, my organization wants people to meet. Being the right height, the right weight, the right looks, the right mannerisms, the way you talk, are you eloquent, how charismatic you are, all that stuff. And recently I was passed over for a promotion and my career was put at risk. It hit me hard because I work hard and I'm not perfect, but I know one thing is for sure, that I give it 100% every single day and I don't give up. And I felt like a complete and utter failure, and I felt like I let my family down. And then my wife told me something that, really stuck with me. She said, how many other people that were affected by this, and there's nothing wrong with you. Just do what you need to do and you'll be fine. So then I started to think, what example do I want to show my kids? What example do I want to show other people that could potentially go through something that I went through? And just because you have a setback doesn't mean you failed. It just means you haven't achieved it yet. I decided that I was going to dig my feet in deeper, put in the extra work, put in the extra time, and do everything that I needed to do. And knowing in the back of my head that even if I did all that, it still might not work out. And that was okay because I didn't quit. I even enrolled in a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt course to learn more and make myself more knowledgeable about processes and procedures. And I just kind of like nerdy things, as you can tell. So I just graduated that course. And to be honest, everything kind of worked out in the same week where I made the same promotion and I finished the course. And it was more or less like when I was taking that course, it was a couple months long. I was thinking, this is a lot of reading. This is a lot of writing. This is a lot of test taking. This is a lot of memorizing. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to finish this in time, because there's a specific time frame that you have to get it done in. I was like, how am I going to get this done in time? I don't know how I'm going to do this. But then I just told myself, you know what? Just carve out your lunches every day and just get after it. However far you get during your lunchtime, that's however far you get. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just get it done. And it just so happened that I finished in the same week that I found out that I was eligible for promotion. So I was like super excited. And, I wanted to show my kids more specifically and my family that, just because I had a setback doesn't mean I'm a failure. And by the way, how you handle failures is just as important as how you handle successes. So that was important for me. So I put in that work. And then, just like Thomas Edison said, because I have not failed, I just found 10,000 ways that it won't work, and I feel the same way in our own lives. So if you don't find yourself in a spot yet where you feel like that you need to persevere, that you need to dig in deep and put in that extra work, then how do you as a leader create a space to encourage others to persevere? Sometimes people forget that when they went through things to get to where they are, they forgot where they came from. When you lead, you're not just leading the good parts, you're also leading the not so good parts as well. So what do you do to create an environment that encourages people to be consistent at putting in the hard work that they need to put in? Do they know what they need to do? Do they know what work they got to put in? Sometimes people just need a little boost of encouragement. Sometimes people just need a little bit of, you just either send them an email that says, hey, I know you're going through a hard time. I know you're struggling on this, but you got this. And in fact, so my grandfather used to say, sometimes people need a help up, not a hand out. So when was the last time you encouraged people that were struggling? When was the last time you gave them a vote of confidence and faith in them? A small gesture of confidence and faith in somebody goes a long way. When was the last time that you really knew that somebody was struggling with something and you kind of were like, I don't know if these people really got it. I really don't know if this dude's going to do that's going to pull us out. I really don't know if he's got it, but I'm going to try. When was the last time you put some, positive encouragement in that bucket for that person? So here's my challenge for you. Do that this next week. Do this over the next couple of weeks. Give some people that encouragement. And if you are in the position where you're persevering and you just don't have that encouragement, then just look deep inside and find out why you're doing what you're doing and stick to your why. That will get you through it. So we'd like to end with this in mind. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what happened. Tell us a story about what you persevered through if you feel like sharing, or let us know about, something else that you saw that really inspired you to be like, you know what, I'm going to be willing to put in the consistent hard work. And then lastly, don't compare yourself to somebody else's journey. And don't compare your journey to somebody else's journey, because it's all equally different and difficult uniquely to each person. Don't look at somebody else's situation like, man, this guy or gal has it a lot harder than I have it, so they're really, really persevering. Well, I would offer up it's equally as hard and challenging to you too in the situation that you're in. So don't sell yourself or your situation short or compare yourself to anybody else's situation, because it's all equally difficult and different and unique. That's why we're all people. So I want to thank you for listening to today's episode of Tim Stating the Obvious, where we talked about perseverance. Before we end, I'd like to ask if you could please subscribe, comment, and share this podcast and provide some feedback to help generate some discussion like we just talked about. If you haven't checked out the one-day challenge video, please go to our Facebook site, on YouTube channel, or on our YouTube channel and check it out. It's about being better tomorrow than you are today through small, consistent progress in what matters. And you're going to join a group that provides positive feedback and motivation to each other in an encouraging way so that we all can achieve our goals and be better tomorrow than we are today. So if you haven't checked that video out, please go check it out. Lastly, this show is about you. This channel is about you. So I'm interested and what you may want to hear about. If you got a topic or an idea or something that you want to hear that you haven't heard yet, drop me a note, send me a note, and I'll take a look at it. I'll do some research on it, and I'll let you know what my spin is. And if I can't find anything, I'll point you in the direction of where, people can have a positive spin on it. But either way, I am interested in hearing what you have to say. I really, really, really hope you enjoyed this episode and come back for another one. I'm Tim Staten, stating the obvious.